Hello and welcome to Journeys in Fandom, episode 3. We haven't got a title.
For the third time.
What's the title?
No, we haven't.
Something about Superman. There we go. There's a title for it.
Yeah, Superman. How to make a good Superman movie.
There we go. How to make a good... See, we've planned this, fans. It's not as if we've been sat here for the last half hour just tweaking our microphones and various other stuff.
Our viewers and listeners know that we are fully prepared and have got this totally scripted. It's absolutely fine.
God, it's all going to fail. We're using new technology. For the benefit of the listeners, we are on YouTube and I'm using a new streaming software. So we are in the world of streaming now. Although we're not streaming live, we're streaming locally. But we could stream live in the future.
Could you imagine us streaming live, what chaos that would cause?
Just actually getting all this plugged in and working is taking long enough. And I've just realised, my lights has gone out. That's really bad.
Lights has gone out.
Yeah, that is really bad. So we're going to keep talking while I'm just going to turn it back on. Oh, lordy. Right, let's fix that. I'm going to keep talking because this is live, folks.
Yeah.
Turn back
technology,
on.
Greg, when
there
it
we
works.
go. Look at that.
Hey.
It's working. Technology. Oh no, it's because it needs a software update, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to do that now.
The fact you can do yours via a remote control and your lights need a software update. That is peak 2023 days.
It's just it's technology. When it
My
works,
lights
it's
don't
fine.
work because they need a software update. I love it. I love it.
It's just telling me it needs a firmware update. Anyway, I'll deal with that later. So where were we?
Whereas my light just uses electric.
Yes.
And no bulbs been into the 90s, so it'll be fine.
No, there are no bulbs. We have no bulbs here. Oh, Lord. Anyway, what are we talking about? Good start.
Superman, apparently. Yeah.
No, we're going to go to the news section first because we've got
the
more
news. Yes.
Oh, God. So last time, we were going to talk about the Doctor Who very small trailer. Because of other technical faults, that didn't make it into the final cut. But there's been another... Did I say Doctor Who or Superman? I can't remember. There's been another Doctor Who trailer that came out last week. So... When we're looking at it was 7 days ago today. So 7 days ago, whatever day that was, 13th of May.
13th of May.
So it was the trailer that released the 3 titles. Because I forgot there's 3 specials, isn't there? There's not one. I thought there was one.
There are 3 specials.
Totally forgot. So I'm going to the wonders of technology. I'm going to share my screen. Ooh, look at that. And we're going to look at this.
Very high tech.
It's only a very short 41 seconds. So let me just start that.
Why did this face come back? To say goodbye?
I don't think that's a plane. It's a spaceship in trouble.
Oh my God, where are we?
I'm sorry, Donna. He's here. Driving you mad. Laughing at the human race.
What the hell?
There we go. What do you think of that?
I mean, that's got me more excited for Doctor Who than the last 3 or 4 years have.
You can tell there's a style, isn't there? The way he does things. And it looks good. We're not going to the detail of it today, but is it Beat the Meep, the thing with the big eyes?
Possibly, I have no idea.
So I don't know much about it, but apparently he's a character in Doctor Who magazine. I think actually Russell wrote it, or he was on the editor or something like that. But yeah, the little bug-eyed things, Beat the Meep or something. Yeah. And those alien things are following him. But apart from that, doesn't give anything away at all. Even the titles don't give anything away, do they?
Yeah. I think for me, if they're going to have trailers, and there's going to be multiple trailers, I'm sure, don't give away the entire story. It's like, if there's going to be a big twist or reveal or whatever, keep it as a big twist or reveal. I don't want the whole episode story in a 30-second trailer.
No, and yeah, he can't get anything from those titles whatsoever. Like the third one's called The Giggle or something like that. It's like, well, who is that? What is that? It's in the 3 trailers that have come out, we've not seen anything new yet. It's all been Neil Patrick Harris dancing, Donna, Doctor, Beep the Meep, Rose, the other Rose, and that's about it. So there's been nothing new. Not even I can't remember his name. Ncuti Gatwa's only been in it once, so we're not seeing anything. And where are we now? It's
I wasn't the background when he's in it all been super CGI'd anyway.
Yeah, so we don't know where he is, what he's doing.
Yeah.
So we're like, what, 7 months away? Because when are they coming out? Remind me. So we've got 60th.
Say November. Because
is the Christmas one count? The Christmas one's going to be his first like standalone episode. I'm guessing that's not included in the specials, or is it included in the special? No, it must be. I don't.
There's 3 specials, so I think it's going to be probably November. Let's double check our facts.
Yeah, it's been a while.
As you can tell, audience, we were fully prepared for this.
It must end in November, mustn't it? Here we go. November 2023, November 2023, and November 2023. So nothing more than that. Oh, of course, Bernard Cribbins. This was his. He was in it. He was in some of the filming. I'm sure he was in a wheelchair. So
really,
I'm pretty certain they said he was. Or was that post? No, post. I can't say the word. What's the word? Posthumously in it. So he's obviously going to be. There's going to be a bit of a nod to him, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, well, that's good. So that's that. That's the news. There hasn't been any more news from your neck of the woods in terms of fandom.
Other than the Superman news that you shared for the potential castings, maybe for a film that might happen. Who knows anymore? David Cornsweet. Dave, I can't pronounce his name. James Gunn's Superman Legacy is reportedly eyeing David Corenswet for Clark Kent. Yeah, Corenswet. That's not how you pronounce it, is it?
I don't know. I'm sure he is in something that we should have watched, and now those people who have watched it will be getting very angry with us. Hang on a minute.
Very much so.
Hang on. Let me screen share this if it's going to work, because he looks just like.
I'm ready.
It looks like Henry Cavill. Exactly like him. It's like a thinner, younger version of Henry Cavill. What's the point? What's the point of saying we don't want Henry Cavill? We're just going to get a
clone of Henry Cavill.
A slightly less buff version of Henry Cavill. Oh, Lord. Well, this is leaning straight into what we're going to talk about today. So, how to make a decent Superman movie. How do you do it? What's come before? So obviously you've got the
there's originals with Christopher Reeve. Did you just forget with Christopher Reeve? Oh, Tim. I can see people shouting at the screen going, what are you two doing?
That guy. Yeah, so there was that, and I think Superman 2 is still one of the best Superman films ever.
Yeah.
Just because of its pace and the casting and the way it works. Superman 1 was okay, 3 and 4, 4 was just hokey. But we don't talk about
Quest
4.
for Peace or whatever it was, because
filmed in Milton Keynes.
And then we had Brandon Routh, what was it?
Superman Returns. I like Superman Returns. I have a soft spot for that because I like the suit. I liked, we can't say his name, Kevin Spacey as Luthor. I didn't like the baby son backstory thing, but Brandon Routh was good, and he unfortunately took the brunt of that.
The whole lifting a Kryptonite island out of the sea was cool, but also really,
it was of its time, and it unfortunately had so much weighing it down, so much baggage.
for me, the scene where he gets shot in the eyeball with like a high caliber round and it does nothing. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, you're shooting at me with a 50 cal round. Cool. Is it an anti-tank round? I still won't care because I'm Superman.
Yeah. No, it was a good one, and unfortunately it got bogged down in, well, because it was Bryan Singer, wasn't it, who left X-Men to do it, and there's all that big controversy when he left X-Men. I think he fell, did he was found guilty? Was he found guilty? No, he had lots of stuff hanging over him, doesn't he? He's disappeared off the radar a bit.
Yeah.
Brandon Routh was a complete, like, nobody, but that's why they wanted someone new to do it. But I thought he played Clark Kent as Christopher Reeve played Clark Kent, and I thought that because obviously it was that continuation, wasn't it, between the Superman 2 and
what
Superman.
was nice when he was in Legends of Tomorrow in the crossovers, when he got to play basically like Kingdom Come Superman.
I didn't get to see that. He
was really good. He was really, really good.
Yeah, it's a shame.
There's an older, bigger, buffer, and he was I'm here for this. I'm about it.
So it kind of lost its way a little bit, but I like it. And then obviously we've got
Man of Steel,
Superman versus
Batman, and Justice League.
Yeah. And as we know, if you're a listener of the podcast, we like Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill's ace. He should never have been fired. Should never have been messed around. He's great as Superman, let down, unfortunately, by, I don't know, Man of Steel's good. I enjoyed it.
Is it?
But I felt Man of Steel was affected by the Nolan Batman trilogy because they suddenly decided to go dark and gritty. But is that what Superman's about? Is he dark and gritty? I don't think he is.
No. I think you've got Man of Steel, which was a good film. However, it had some issues, like the whole, Zod, snap. That, for me, is un-Superman.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like that, did they?
No, and the whole basically destroying Metropolis to fight a bad guy. Again, when actually, yes, he's a young Superman, an inexperienced Superman, but at the same time, the Superman we're used to, if you get Metropolis involved, he would deliberately move to fight somewhere else to avoid the absolute destruction of the place he lives.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't get with Superman is he's got morals and he's got like lines you don't cross kind of thing. And you could argue that was because he was new to the job and everything. He was without his cape, etc., etc. I don't know, but no, it was a good story. I like Lois Lane. Sorry, go on.
I think in the animated Justice League series, there's a great scene where basically Darkseid invades and the whole Justice League are fighting like parademons and all this stuff. And Superman faces down with Darkseid one-on-one. And he basically does a quote saying, look, whenever I do anything, I have to be so careful. I should like I'm walking on eggshells the entire time. Because let's face it, if he lets loose, if just for a second, he kills someone. Because he is that strong, even just brushing past them kills them.
Yeah.
Because that impact from him is just, you are a smear. You are no longer here. Whereas he gets on like Darkseid, he just goes, I can let loose, and he literally just smashes him across Metropolis for like 10 minutes, which is great fun. But I think that leads onto it. You can't have Superman in anything where you've got a Superman level threat. So a Justice League movie, you go, cool, this is a Superman level threat. So everyone else doesn't need to turn up because they cannot help. No. Because they will always be side characters, because in the grand power level of people, there's Superman and then everybody else.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think quite often he's branded as being overpowered, like as in like too powerful.
Yeah.
But in some ways that's what makes him an interesting character, because he always has to tone that power down. So when you're talking there, I keep thinking of The Boys. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole concept of what happens if something goes wrong with superpowers. And that's kind of, you kind of see how Superman could be. but it was always for me, and it's always that family story. He had that upbringing of like two really normal people. Kevin Costner in this in this story, and that's what brings him down to that level. And he needed that grounding. So I think that's always
it's a story of basically, for want of a better phrase, a god living among men and getting used to that idea. Because let's face it, if he wanted to, he just goes, "Yep, I'm in charge, and there is nothing you can do to stop me." End of discussion. Whereas it's him trying to be human, and that's the joy of him. That is his character. It's him trying to fit in and be the boy from Kansas kind of thing. And I think that's the problem with making a Superman movie. You either have it based on one of the existing comics and go, "Yep, we are going to fight this bad guy." But if it's a bad guy I've got to fight with force, then there are only a handful that can even stand up to him. Or it's a bad guy that actually you're fighting with brains. Someone like Brainiac is a good example.
Yeah,
you go,
that's
you just outwit him.
The one villain, because Lex Luthor has been done to death on on films, but Luthor was always kind of his equal in other ways. He was a master manipulator. But Brainiac was alien, and he fought with not only force but also with like the kind of the brain aspect of it, one of a better phrase. So I'm really surprised they haven't done that, and obviously it's too late now, because what just going on to what James Gunn is going to do, what are they going to do with a young Superman, someone who's not in his prime? Who is he going to fight? So I think they've missed a trick. But no, Brainiac was always been a really good choice, but they always seem to gravitate to Lex Luthor over and over again because it's the easy.
Well, it's the opposite of Superman, isn't it? It's the standard man who just goes, "Actually, you're an alien, and I don't like you, and I'm going to deal with this."
And I suppose
you're seeing what a threat Superman could be.
They touched on Apocalypse, didn't they? Apocalypse? No, what am I thinking of?
Outside.
No, in the one that killed him. God, my brain's not working
Doomsday.
today. Doomsday. What did I say? Apocalypse. I don't know. Doomsday in obviously on the screen, and that kind of half worked. I like the way they kind of got Doomsday there, but if you're going to do Death of Superman, you want to do it properly. But they've obviously now gone down that route.
And I hate to say it, the animated Death of Superman is far, far better than the Death of Superman in Dawn of Justice. But you go, cool.
To be fair, actually, I'm sure you have. You've seen the Snyder Cut.
Is it?
That
all 74 years of it.
Oh, good God, yeah. In little
it was so long.
TV box screen. But the end of that, where Superman just came in and absolutely wiped the floor with Steppenwolf, that's what's going back to what you said. That is Superman, is the entire rest of Justice League are getting their ass handed to him, and he just flies in. And it's that moment where he just leans and dodges that shot and then just absolutely pounds him. And it's like, that's proper Superman.
Yeah, he just takes the axe hit to the shoulder and just doesn't even move and just looks and just goes, "Nope, not today." Yeah. And you think, "Yep, Steppenwolf, mate, you're about to get handed it."
So I suppose that's it. It's a difficult, because it's not the movie director's fault that Superman is overpowered. So you have to make it relatable and make it work. But then it must work because it's been in the comics for so many decades. So why do they just keep going back to the same old trope? Let's just bring in Lex Luthor. Let's just bring in Lex Luthor and not
the problem
explore anything else.
Lots of people think Superman is a really, really boring character because he is unstoppable. Do you have kryptonite? No, then cool, you've lost, because he's ridiculous. And like some of the later versions, you go, "Cool, you've got kryptonite." "Yep, that don't work either. I'm literally unstoppable. There is no force on this planet or any other that is even going to annoy me and slow me down." So you've got to go for that down to earth, how someone like that can function in the world and society. And how you make that into a movie is quite a difficult one.
This is the perfect moment to bring up Lois and Clark.
Yes.
To be fair, ignore the 90s-ness of it, is probably the best adaptation of a Superman on Earth thing that I can think of in the modern era. Because it's the villain of the week kind of thing. But it worked, and it worked for how many seasons did they do? A lot. Yeah. It got a bit ropey towards the end when they kind of run out of ideas. But the Dean Cain Superman was good. The Dean Cain Clark Kent was good, and obviously you had Lois who played off him, and I know that was kind of what they were aiming for with that relationship thing. But you've
Superman. Also got the new Superman and Lois with Tyler Hodgkin. I can't pronounce his name again.
Span off from Supergirl, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's the CW Superman. Basically, him with the two kids, so Superboys.
I'll be honest. Watched Supergirl. I really enjoyed Supergirl, especially season 1, and then it got after that it kind of went down a bit downhill. But I don't know. I think I have a soft spot for Dean Cain, and
again, what they're doing is that Superman family. So you've got the two superpowered kids, and you've obviously got Lois even just there being Lois, which is cool, and Superman being full powered. Hello, I'm Superman, and facing like Bizarro and other like villains that you go, yep, these are a problem. And actually they're dealing with a family life, and how do you deal with two children that could destroy the world on their own?
I was always surprised that they let them have Superman on TV, because I know they were very twitchy back in the Arrow Flash days about having certain, like Batman wasn't allowed on TV. Harley wasn't allowed on TV. There were certain characters that weren't allowed. I was really surprised that let Superman in and then gave him a spin-off series, which I found odd, considering you had Superman on screen and then you had Superman on TV. I just thought, well, why? And I know why they didn't do it with Batman. Why didn't they protect Superman in the same way?
It's such a difficult one. I'm trying to think at the time I'm trying to think when they sort of started like the Arrowverse and stuff like that.
Oh, that's been going years.
Yeah, but at the time there was also like the Batman films and potential other Batman plans, whereas Superman was just kind of not doing anything. So again, when actually...
Sorry, Superman and Lois 2021 IMDb says, but they were in Supergirl before then though, weren't they?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So that's the thing. Once you've got Supergirl involved, then Superman has to be there, and you can kind of hint to him, but eventually you've just got to give up and say, yeah, he exists.
Yeah, because the whole Arrow thing is another thing we haven't really touched on. No, it didn't have Superman in it, but it had everything but. And again, that was very good, but I stopped watching it because it's like any of the American TV series. It suffers from prolonged exposure, and it just goes on forever, and gradually the quality goes down and down and down. And it kind of gets to a point where it's like, ugh. But no, when Arrow was at its peak, Arrow effectively was Batman on TV, because they kind of made him into Batman, didn't they, really?
Yeah, even had a voice gets so you've got put your city in the deepest possible voice ever.
Because there's, just touching back on that Batman, is I don't think it was ever real, but there was all that chatter about Henry Cavill's Batman crossing over with Christian Bale's Superman. And that would have been...
Think about what you just said there for a second.
Did I say the same thing twice?
Henry Cavill's Batman and Christian Bale's Superman. I went, nope.
I'm very tired. I'm very tired. Normally, I say Gareth Bale, and that really confused. And I say Christian Bale when I mean Gareth Bale. That's just a thing. It's just bizarre Welsh crime fighter. So yeah, those two crossing over. That would I think that would have. No, say that though. I don't know. I know we're not talking about Batman, but I like Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought he was really good, and I think he got a bad rep. And actually, they work well together. But having Christian Bale's Batman crossover with Henry Cavill's Superman, get it right this time, that would have. I don't know. I think it would have worked. That kind of universal thing.
Yeah, it's so difficult because if you introduce someone like Superman to a world, you go, oh, cool, there's this threat coming. Okay, Superman stopped it. And this is the problem you have with like a Justice League universe. You go, okay, yes, he cannot be everywhere at once, but it can be damn close to. Because when you've got someone who can move at multiple times the speed of light, then you go, yeah, cool. What threat have you got for me? So you got the Joker go, oh yeah, I've got your girlfriend in one building and a bomb in the other. Yep, dealt with. But I've been finished talking about it. Yeah, I found it. I looked in every building in the city in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, I can see why it... I suppose in some respects you have to gloss over some of those powers and ground it a bit, because...
And that's the thing, you have to underpower Superman so much to make a film with him work. Yeah,
that's it. Otherwise, it just becomes a joke.
It's a classic. You've got to write the character for what he needs to be in a story, because wherever he needs to be, he is. It's like you get classic sort of clips from comics or some of the animations where he's literally like lifting a weight that's like 3 times the weight of Earth just with one hand, just for days on end. Just go, yep, I got this. This is absolutely fine. And you think, okay, if he can do that, stopping a plane falling out of the sky, he wouldn't even notice. So when you in Superman Returns, when he's like struggling to slow a plane down, you go, he shouldn't. This should be instant. You get, yep, stopped it. Because it weighs nothing to me. It's like paper.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. I think it's the concept of his powers, and some in fact, some of them they don't even mention it. They just don't give him all those powers, do they? They just. Yeah. I think Snyder probably the only one that's really made Superman Superman, especially in that Justice League adaptation. But all the rest of them just ignored it.
I think there's the scene on the Superman shrine where he fights all of the members of Justice League, and you've got Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, all trying to just move him, and he just stands there.
Yeah.
Then you just go, between you are not going to move him.
And that bit
any
where
way, shape, or form.
He sees Flash coming at him, and he just moves his eyes, and he's again that is just really cool little things that Snyder did really well. And I think out of all of them, he understood Superman the best. The others, obviously, they're different directors doing their solo films, but he understood what Superman was all about.
But by the same token, Superman shouldn't be a dark, broody, angry character. He should be literally hope given form. It is that a Superman movie should be bright. It should be in the daytime. Nighttime should not exist when Superman is there. It should be that shining beacon on a hill where you just go, this is everything good that there is in a form. And it is so that's why he is the opposite of Batman. So Batman films at night, dark, broody. Superman, bright, colourful, just hopeful. And so it needs to be like what movies never did. They don't do those sort of bright, cheerful movies anymore.
No, not. Yeah, especially superhero films, like as we said in previous podcasts, are all over the place. But do they? Shazam, the first one. I've not seen the second one. The only one I can think off the top of my head that was quite cheery, and no, even then, I suppose it's difficult because they've all since Batman, the trilogy, Nolan's Batman, they've all gone that gritty kind of route to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Guardians, the first one was different because it was different, and they used music and they made the humor. But now Disney's gone down humor, and it's just humor for humor's sake, and it needs something fresh. I guess give James Gunn his credit. Maybe he is going to make a Superman film that is fresh and it is different. I doubt it. And the fact that he wants to do the Superman just on the cusp of being Superman origin story that we've seen 100 times before. It's why don't we just have a Superman film? It's like the Batman films. They can't help but go back and tell the origin story. Say that though, the Patterson Batman didn't really do that, but the Superman thing. Why can't I have a film that just has Superman already as Superman? He's going out with Lois Lane, Clark Kent is, and all the characters are there. And it's just a Superman story with no introduction. Doesn't need an introduction because we all know who Superman is. And just do it that way.
He's the original superhero. Literally everyone knows who Superman is. It's kind of it's part of like the human psyche. Yep, Superman, know who that is. You could probably go to like a tribe in the middle of nowhere and go, do you know Superman? Yeah. It's probably on a t-shirt.
I think that's it. It's just to have the balls to have a fully grown, fully formed Superman that just fights a threat, and whatever that threat is, and however they want to depower him, that's fine. Rather than have to go through the whole setup of who he is and his angst about his powers, and then there'll be his parents, and then there'll be his alien thing, and then it'll be kryptonite, and there'll be Lois will be in there because they'll shoe her on her as a young woman, and it's like, oh, just do it normally.
Okay.
Because I think isn't that how Lois and Clark started the TV series? Basically him coming to Metropolis, and that was kind of it. Did he come as, no, he didn't come as Superman, no, because his mum made him the costume. I remember that bit. I used to really love that TV series. Yeah,
and that's the thing, like the first episodes were the start of him being a Superman, so you get to...
Yeah.
Again, it's been done so many times, you've just got to go, do you know what? We're just going to tell a good Superman story with a good villain that is actually a threat either to him or to the place where he lives and the people that he loves, and go from there.
Yeah. I don't think they can. I don't think they can resist the angsty, let's do this all again kind of stuff. Yeah, and obviously I'm just annoyed they ditched Henry Cavill because it wasn't right to the way they did it.
If you want to go for, or do you literally just go for a good, solid Superman story and go, do you know what? I'm just going to make this into live action. But they shouldn't do that because DC animated movies are so good and they've done all the good ones. Yeah,
I think that's the thing that you forget, that Marvel animation is... They do it and they do series, but it's not as good as... It's aimed at kids, whereas the DC one is aimed at fans predominantly, and the stories are just taken straight from the comics. They don't mess around with them.
Yeah. So... I think we've talked around the point of actually, can you make a good Superman movie? Not how do you make one, but actually in current day, can you actually make a good Superman movie with him as a main character and no other supporting superheroes?
I don't know if you...
And I think they might struggle.
Yeah. Because Superman 2 worked because it had Superman, the original, to prop it up. And people hadn't seen superhero films at that level before.
Right.
So Superman 2 was always going to be that much better because he already had something to build on. But the expectations of superhero movies now are so high that... Yeah, it's difficult because, how do you take Superman the character and put it onto the screen and make it work? Because there's only a handful of villains you could use before you kind of run out of ideas.
Yeah. And I think the reason they always go for Lex Luthor is everyone knows who Lex Luthor is.
Yeah, you have to think of it of the non-fan fandom. So the people call it the normies, the people who go to the cinema, they know Superman. Oh, let's go see a Superman film. They can go into a film and not get bogged down. That's harking back to our previous podcast about Marvel. The reason why Marvel films aren't doing too well at the moment, because you've got to watch 16 other TV shows, 5 other films, and 18 years worth of backstory to get what's going on. But with Superman, like Spider-Man, like Batman, they're all mainstream characters. Yeah, so it is difficult to go into a film that doesn't have to explain the backstory of Brainiac, who's quite complex. If you're going for pure Brainiac, putting cities in a bottle kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can they do it?
Yeah, so like we said, everyone knows who Lex Luthor is. That's what he always go with his to go to. Brainiac is someone who can go toe-to-toe with Superman. But again, explaining what and who Brainiac is a headache. You go, cool, we'll do Darkseid. You go, yeah, but that's a problem because once you've done it, there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, and they were going to do it over the course of 3 movies in Snyder's thing. And actually, that sounded really... Sorry, go on.
No, or you go for like a really random villain. You go, oh yeah, we'll go for Parasite. And you go, yeah, all right, cool. Like absorb your powers, great. Or like a mazer or something, you go, yeah, great. But again, you have to explain where they come from, how they do it, etc., etc., etc.
I suppose that's it. I think Superman hasn't got a pantheon of villains like Batman has. That you could just go, I'm just going to pick Clayface, I'm going to pick Joker, you can pick loads of them. He hasn't got that. So that probably, yeah. So even if filmmakers wanted to do it, they haven't got much to choose from. So they always, like you said, they go back to Lex Luthor because it's easy, or they make their own characters up, which is difficult.
The issue you've got with Superman is his big villains are world/universe ending villains. You go, yeah, cool, it's Darkseid. All right, we'll die because this guy can do it.
Yeah.
And how do you build to that? That is your 10 years getting there, because actually you go, yep, Darkseid's coming. Which is, again, in the DC animated movies, they did that. They did loads of standalone stories, and every so often Darkseid would get a mention or appear, and then they did like the Apocalypse War, and the Justice League lose. And they get mullered, because Darkseid is that good. And
there's a phrase I've not heard for years. Mullered.
Yeah, he just absolutely caves them in. So, like, kills the vast majority of them because he's powerful enough to do so. He makes like paradooms. I'm gonna combine a parody and Doomsday, and see how much fun I can have with it. So, like when you see like characters like Wonder Woman literally getting like arms torn off because these creatures are powerful enough to literally rip her limbs off, and you go, yeah, that's a villain level threat. That's a problem.
Yeah,
but again, you can't do that on screen because you just go, yeah, that's all ring it there. And in an animated movie, you can do it because it's animated.
Yeah, I suppose that's it. You've got to cater for the kids, so it's never going to be R-rated. I think Deadpool's the only one that's going to be in the Disney universe. Yeah. So I don't know. And maybe that's it. Maybe the answer is, we've come up to the answer is, you can't do a decent Superman film because it's too difficult to do it in this day and age. Whatever you do, you're going to depower him. Has he got any villains, recognizable villains that people understand and could get? And what are they going to do with young Superman? That's kind of what we've come. I don't see the point of young Superman. It just seems it'd be prefer if they didn't want to do Superman, just don't do it at all. Just do something else. So we really haven't come to a conclusion. It's not the greatest of conclusions for this conversation, but it's difficult, and I think that's all we can hope that James Gunn. We've talked about it in previous podcasts. Has James Gunn got? He's either right man for the job. Yeah, I don't think he is. I think he can do quirky, but he can't do serious, and that's the problem. I haven't seen Guardians 3. So
me neither, not yet. It's on my to-do list.
I don't know whether he's pulled that off third time lucky. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it.
I've heard it's emotional and good and a solid third film. And the third act is always difficult because, let's face it, the third album is always a hard one.
Yeah, and the fact that half of the cast are leaving, well, they're all leaving, aren't they? Because it's kind of the last one. So, that might set the tone for me as to whether he can do serious. Because, the Guardians was serious, but it was still quirky characters.
Yeah, also, can you do a good character piece? That's, if you're going to do young Superman and they're trying to do a character-based film, can you actually focus just on a character and not have it irreverent and stupid, and actually just have it as a good character piece of him dealing with being a god among men?
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see how it all pans out, I think.
Because let's face it, if you've got a college or university age Superman, I want to play American football. You can't. I want to do this. You can't. Because if you tackle someone, they are a smear. Yeah, I've got the ball. Hit me. I'm just going to walk to the end zone because there's no force that's going to stop me.
Well, that's it. And I think you have to suspend disbelief, and they've never really touched on that, have they? It's just kind of
Smallville. They
Oh, of course, we haven't talked about Smallville, have we? What about...
Smallville.
Oh, shit.
So,
look at that.
again,
We were just about to
it's been done to
swear
death.
as well. Yeah, I totally forgot about Smallville. Yeah, because again, that was kind of they did that whole angsty teenager thing to death about his powers and everything like that, and totally forgot. How can we forget Smallville?
Well, that's the thing. Just thinking about Superman playing American football when he's done this because he saw it in Smallville. We haven't talked about Smallville. Panic. But that's the thing. Again, Superman, like the first time, has been done.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do anything new. So unless you go completely left field or just go, do you know what? That's a really good comic story. I'm going to take that one and just make it live action. I think that's our conclusion. How do you make a good Superman movie? I don't think you can.
So there we go. We forgot all about Smallville.
Admittedly, talking to the new chap, like if you're going to cast someone to play Superman, it needs to almost be someone who is enormous. Because let's face it, he's like 6'6" odd. I'm trying to think how tall is Superman? I'm going to have to Google this myself. How tall is Superman? Because I can never remember. 1.91 m. What's that in real money?
Henry Cavill is 6'1".
Yeah, so actually, so according to DC Comics, Superman is 6'3" or 191 centimeters. So so they need to be 6 foot and then some. They need to have that sort of on-screen hugeness.
Yeah.
Because you can't have like a tiny guy playing a Superman. So I don't know how big the new fella is. But what you don't want is you don't want someone who's tiny. Or he's got to come and he's got to have that on-screen presence of just being huge.
Ooh, David Corran's sweat, according to this, is 193 centimeters tall. So he's taller than Henry Cavill. He just needs to get
6'3" and a bit. Yeah. That's the thing. If he lives in a gym for 6 months,
this website says he's 6 foot. Oh no, this 6'4". IMDb says, so we'll go with that. 6'4".
Yeah, perfect. Then he's big. Then he's big enough. Admittedly, when I used to cosplay, I remember getting told off for saying that people who are Superman have to be big. But actually, if you're going to do it on screen, you need to have someone who is 6'3" and built like a tank. Admittedly, when they're playing Clark Kent, you then need to kind of make them hunch a bit and just look and have the glasses and the hair and everything just to. But when they are Superman, they need to stand tall and be Superman. That's the thing. You've got to get that differentiation between Clark Kent and Superman. The reason why no one noticed is because he would literally stand a bit shorter. Like the Christopher Reeve was a great example. He would stutter and play with glasses and kind of just sit kind of quite hunched and look small. The fact he's like enormous, it's irrelevant. But he looks like that sort of nervous, timid. And then when he's in costume, it's very much fully standing, fully chest out. Hello, I'm here.
That's kind of what just made him stand out, because all the rest of them played Clark the same, but with glasses, basically. Whereas Christopher Reeve, whether it's him or the directors, whatever, and obviously Brandon Routh, because he was kind of copying that, played Clark Kent as that nervous, geeky kind of person, whereas everyone else played him the same. And so it was a bit more obvious that there wasn't much difference. But yeah, it's interesting. Dean Cain's 6 foot, so we're slowly going down. How tall is Brandon Routh? This is what I'm going to do for the rest of this podcast, is just look at how tall people are. Because how
tall was Christopher Reeve?
Brandon Routh, he's 189 centimeters, 6'2". Actually, he's a tall bloke.
Christopher Reeve.
He was quite tall.
Christopher Reeve was 1.93 m. Perfect.
Ooh. Yep. So they're all about the same. Dean Cain was the shortest.
Yeah.
And I don't know who the new guy is on TV. Who's the guy that plays him?
Tyler Hodgson.
Oh yeah, 183. Oh, there's a whole niche of celebrity heights.
This is what this podcast has now become. How tall is such and such?
This is it. It's now Journeys in Tallness.
Yes.
Oh my lord, there's a website called compareheights.com. So you can
this is what the podcast has become.
Yeah, people have... Yeah, you're comparing celebrity heights. Oh my lord! Right, there's a rabbit hole. Right, I think maybe we need to wrap this up before I just go down a rabbit hole I can't get out of. Let's close that window.
So next time I speak to you is going to be your new kink, isn't it? Guess how tall this person is. All right.
Yeah.
Oh lord,
where do I fit on this schedule? Oh lord. Right. Well, so that has been Superman. I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. What have we got lined up? Should we just do something on the fly like we always do?
I mean, this was totally planned and scripted, wasn't it?
We'll have a think about it. It might be Doctor Who related. It might be movie related. It might be something else. But we'll have a think and we'll stick it up before the episode's out so you get an idea what it's going to be.
Obviously, if anyone has any ideas for future episodes, tell us. So we'll see what we can do. Super. I think you should be an episode. The episode should be why hasn't Power Girl had her own movie yet?
Well, she is. She's going to be in Flash with dark hair.
Shut up.
See, if you just get a felt tip pen to that statue behind you and just go, that's not going to work, is it?
That's not the one, mate. That's glitch.
You could crochet a little wig for it to go on her head.
I hate you so much.
On that note, I'm going to end it.
Yeah. Well, no, I quit.
I'm off to crochet me Power Girl wig.
Crochet Power Girl wig. I love it. I love it.
That's a euphemism if you ever heard one. Right. I will say goodbye and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you. We'll see you next time.
Yes, it's goodbye from Matt.
It's goodbye from me. Cheerio.